Excuse me, I'm coughing. Sorry, guys. Okay, here we go. Are you ready? Let's. Okay, we're off the starting soon party. Okay, sorry for the late start, and happy Friday to everybody there in South Korea. A beautiful Thursday evening here. So we're just going to jump right into our speed assignment today, since we're starting a little bit late. You guys, this is not your first rodeo, so you've all done this before. You're welcome to use Photoshop. You're welcome to use your sketchbook and markers, whatever you have handy. The idea is we have 5 studies we're going to do today with 10 minutes apiece. And we're going to study some fabrics and fold today. So before we get started, we'll do a little bit more lecture on it later. But so some things to keep in mind, because we're going on with our character concepts that we're creating. So we're going to look at your silhouettes a little later today. But more than likely, not always the case, but there could be some clothing on your characters. Entirely possible that your character might not be nude. So they might have clothes. And it's important to know how clothes fold over objects and how they fit on people. It may seem very self-explanatory, but there are a lot of simple rules and a lot of techniques and a lot of people that get it wrong quite often. So we're going to go through some fabric studies today. You're welcome to do these in color. You're welcome to do line work with a little bit of shading. Try and do some kind of light source with some values and tones to show how these objects are 3D. But I have a few images in the canvas to help us out a little bit, to talk a little bit about some of the things to keep in mind. So in some of these images, you'll see this, little, let's see, scope that. This little shot on folds that I found on the internet. It has some really good points. So you want to look at, you'll notice on this, you'll see this in the real world image. I tried to grab real world images instead of just drawings so we can see how material actually does fold. So you remember when you have a tension point or somewhere where a buckle or something is holding on to a piece of fabric, the lines that emanate from that are gonna follow that. I'm gonna try not to touch it. They're gonna follow away from it, as you can see in here. So pay attention to the tension points, the shapes that the fabric makes, how they pinch together when fabric is around something more tightly. We're going to cover all this in the speed assignment, so definitely check out these references if you need a little bit of insight before we get started. But we're just going to kick it off and start working on these. So the first one is this green one right here. 3D Mentor, just go away, bud. Go to Trovo. I chose the best possible. So here I'm getting made fun of by one of my colleagues. But the reference images we're going to do, I'm going to show you really quick, and we're going to start on the first one and just keep going on down the line. Yes, from the 50s, the classics, some simple cloth being draped. So this is a 1-point tension, 2-point tension. And then we're going to get on to some sexy pants, some shirts, more pants, and just talk about how the cloth around those affects it. All right, so let's get started. So we're going to start with image number 1. We have 10 minutes to do something amazing. I'm actually just going to crack open a new layer. That way I can move these around. And I'm just going to be painting on one layer. I think to kick this off, those pants are going to get me banned. More than likely. Okay, so I'm just going to start off. And what I might even start doing is lay out some darks. It doesn't matter which brush you start. I'm going to start laying. Gray. Have the point up here up top. Fabric just comes down from that. Okay? So this was probably a square fabric, just making a simple cone shape. So we kind of talked about that. This looks just like a cone. You notice from this tension point, everything emanates out from it. And it makes several new cones. I see. We'll just keep going. Mr. Mr. McSamface. So each of these tension points, they come down and they form really a cone, and we'll kind of look at that. And it down. And each cone kind of makes that kind of a pipe shape. Sometimes these are called pipes, and up just how the cloth kind of. So that's how the light is going to pick up off these. Side of the pipes, then. So these are like the cylinder shape. We still have a few minutes on this one. This one might be a little bit shorter. Good. I draw. You know, I kind of can't help it. It kind of helps to think of things in. Where the shadows are. Pretty fun. Okay, just a couple more seconds on this one, and we're gonna move on. This was number one. Number one. Mr. McSamface. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. This one right here. So now we have two tension points. Think about this. So I'm going to start sketching this out. On this, we're just going to keep it rough. Not if we follow perfectly, but essentially we have two tension points. One is actually the top of this big long point, top of that wall, and then here, just like with the other one, we have another tension point. Cloth is stuck on that. So the tension points always emanate from the tension points away, kind of like two perspective drawing. Right? So start drawing lines, go down, they go towards next tension. I can draw these without even looking. On this side, you can notice some of the same kind of piping shapes. This is also called diaper hypertension, I guess. I don't. You have two, I guess, clothespins on each side of a diaper to get this kind of study. So we're having fun. I'm gonna go dark. So you notice the tubes. It still has these tube shapes that go through. Some go up and then some go down. Right. So the ones that go up, they do a hill, are gonna have they're gonna be the lighter in color. Where they go down in valleys, that's where you're gonna have the dark shade underneath. I like to go light to dark, so I'm actually might just okay. Pull lights from. We're gonna have 10 minutes on this one. We've got about 5 minutes. Now that we have like the medium gray, now we can start with from that. And once you know kind of how cloth folds, you don't have to do exactly image. As long as we follow the rules straight down to the other ones, you can see this transition types kind of get a little bit zigzaggy shape. As long as we follow these rules, we're going to be okay though. It's going to look right. Follow the weight and the tubes, the pipes down off position. Like I said, this is a study, so you're just looking at the forms and I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to hit it with some darker darks, and then I'm going to hit it with some light. And we've kind of gone over some of the tools in class, but just for fun, I'm going to try this with the dodge and burn tool that I've kind of. I don't typically like to paint with those because they tend to do weird things sometimes, but we're going to. Dodge is tighten it up, and we can darken up some. Fast here. And I already switch back. I just like. I want to get how much. 10 minutes doesn't give us a lot of time. Really dark. Two more minutes on this. I mean, that's the big thing to rip. So just remember with 2-point tension, like the 1 point spread, so these are the 2 points, the lines always go down. The weight always carries the fabric down shapes. Then they're going to transition and the light is going to hit over the folds. If you follow those principles just straight up like that, you're always going to get a really nice, consistent cloth shape. So now, since we're doing characters and we only have 10 minutes apiece, we're going to jump into the next one. We're going to start doing some cloth and start talking about some of the ways that cloth will form over 3D objects. Three here. Move itself. I'm gonna paint on a new layer then. I just paint on new layers that I. So up here, we're doing this. We're doing these pants. And on these pants, you can choose the front or back. That's really your choice. But there's some important things to notice. We're going to notice similar to like the tension points. So we have the 2 tension points on the blanket hanging down. And really anything in real life on a 3D object works the same way. You want to look at weight and tension. Where is the tension pulling the cloth around the object, and how is the weight of that cloth affecting it down? And so on these pants, we have a lot of different ones. We have the bunching up at the knees. That's where the weight has squashed down, pulled the pants down around one single object and created a bunch of folds, which creates these kind of zigzag patterns. And that's really common in cloth to kind of form these little triangular shapes over and over again that forms them little bumps in the fabric that the light hits off. So around knees, ankles, the crotch, those kind of areas are all tension points that are going to affect that. And you'll notice on jeans too, on these ones, remember, the tighter the clothing is around the body, the more horizontal the folds are going to go. So you notice on his thighs where it's tight, you have folds going around horizontally. If these were really baggy pants, the weight would be more draped, kind of like with the tension points, and falling down, forming the tubes or pipes. They're pipe fold, just like a drape in a shower or stage would be. Okay? So that's I'm a couple minutes in, but let's draw some of these pants. And 3D Mentor, I hope you're breaking out your sketchbook and some pants. Like on these ones, like I'm not concerned with realism. We're just basic shape. Here are our basic pants. We're going to look at some of the folds that are going on. Just to start off, whole thing. Start with a neutral gray that's kind of, and then I can add pull and color. Start with a normal shape. So if we look at the crotch area, for lack of a better term, it can be a touchy subject, but as 3D Mentor will tell everyone, typically every character has a crotch, and it is a pinch point for your pants or your dress or anything else. So the folds are kind of always going to emanate from that, just like you see in this picture, and down. And then typically, like on these pants, you'll see these folds going across the leg. They're all kind of emanating from that pinch point up top until you get to the knee. And then you'll notice like some buckling of the cloth. Is usually where you have a hinge or kind of transition where you have bending. The cloth will bunch up on those sections and start to form those same kind of triangles called zigzag. You don't even have to draw those perfectly to start to get that feel. And here you can see this this knee on this side. It's forming a tension point, just like on the blanket. You can start to see some of those folds piping down from there, and then they start to create the same kind of zigzag folds, I think is the technical term. You see the cloth goes tight over the thigh over here, because that is a tight section of the pants. That's a cylinder essentially. The belt buckle, even the button here, you'll start to see folds emanating away from that button. Come down the same area, the folds kind of go horizontally. Great study. I don't draw enough clothes. So. You want to find good clothing references is actually extremely easy. Any kind of any website that sells clothes can see how things fold. Okay, so now that we've kind of hit the zigzag patterns, I'm going to darken some of these up. And this is a great study as you guys this weekend are working on your characters and deciding on like clothing they're going to be wearing, about all of this. Studied shape, form, how light bends off of everything. Clothes are one of the dead giveaways. Either really know what you're doing or you don't. I want to find one of the best clothing 3D mentors. Let's add some highlights. Stop it. Why are you doing that? Locked it. You're fine. It's so on all of these folds, especially the horizontal ones, you'll notice underneath, pretty easy. Underneath, you'll have, I think you should make some neon. You have the dark ridge below, where the shadow is underneath the fold. There is a basic cylinder shape. there. Love these zigzag patterns. Where you have tension lines. Highlight. All right, one more minute on this one. Fahrenheit 350 says those look like your. Oh yeah, I could sit and paint. Sadly, I meant to grab some really bad. There's only so many genes we can do. Mr. McSandface just let me know that my voice detection is cutting me off. That is terrible. Okay, so this might have a little bit more white noise, but hopefully it's not cutting me off as much. Does that sound better, my friends? Okay, we're off to the races. So I am just gonna put a little outline around this because I want these pants to look just as good as they possibly can, you know. Maybe hit them with a little bit more darks here and there. Like I said, I could paint these pants for about forever, you know. Maybe some overall darkness around the side here where it forms these pants, the pantiness of it. Inside here needs a little bit more roughing in. Yes, I think this is what we're talking about here. Okay, and with that, we are moving on. We are a minute into our next one. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, I'm gonna turn that layer off. And we are right here. We're doing a shirt now. Perhaps it's this guy's shirt, I don't know. But this shirt right here is our next on our list. Oh, no, I went down too far. There we go. Okay, we're gonna talk about this shirt and how everything falls off of that. You can make the voice detection more sensitive. Yes, I could, and I probably will do that after this. Okay, let's move on from these pants. Sammy McSandface, thank you. I'm always trying to improve my audio and visuals, but I'm someone who always just jumps into things without thinking, so I appreciate your comments. Okay, so let's draw this shirt, right? So looking at this shirt, pretty basic. I'm just gonna sketch out the shape first. I'd hate to mess it up. So the human torso kind of starts in like a triangle a little bit, and the lats kind of go up. I'm not going to do the head, and then we will just block out the arms. Like I say, this doesn't have to be a perfect recreation. Just good enough that we can have the spice we need to start painting around on it. Okay, so then let's add this medium gray like you do. We only have 10 minutes, so we have to use what we have. Okay, so we notice the way the light's hitting off this. So this dude is pretty muscly, which is nice. It's part of the reason I chose him, because then you get to see the tension points from his chest is essentially the tension points, and the shirt, so different than the canvas on the jeans, right? The canvas is a thicker material and it's tighter around the legs. So we get those horizontal bands going around the legs, following the contour of the essentially cylinders that make up the legs. This is a little different. The shirt's looser on this guy. And so the gravity is playing a bigger part, and the tension lines are going straight down from the chest. So I'm going to just kind of highlight where the chest is on him. And, you know, this could always be off, but we're going to say it's like right there. Therefore, it's darker underneath because you have less light hitting, more of a shadow. So I'm just going to highlight that a little bit. And then same with the t-shirt. I'm going to highlight the shapes of that just a little bit to start with. And then we'll start following the patterns that the cloth comes off. Up top is where the head kind of lays off. So you'll notice, same kind of a thing. You have like these, the weight of the shirt is forming those same kind of tubes as we saw with the blanket right off the chest area, for lack of a better term. Pretty simple on this one. And then the same with the tension points of the arm. They're going to be following up in the arm, and that's why it's good to do these studies. Because this is a dead giveaway. This is what makes your concept art go from 0 to hero. I'm telling you. It even kind of buckles in a little bit. Fold that out a little bit. So here's the seam of the where it was sewn on, and then from that seam, these are kind of just doing that same kind of tension point and falling down after the arm. Some shadows of the cloth, and they even try to follow around the arm a little bit on some of it. And these ones go, the same kind of tensions go up the side and kind of follow down. Add some darks to these ones. They're draping down. Hence the word drape, right? Tension lines. That's right, tension. My tensions? Dude. I am so glad I have my colleagues here to harass me during class. It really helps. Okay. Tension. These are tension lines. Because they create tension, just like in real life. Just like when 3D Mentor creates tension in my classroom. Tension's in the shirt. It all flows. It's a beautiful thing. So we've got these tension lines coming down off the shirt. Can I kind of hit those up? And then you'll see this, some of it's a little darker. I'm going to hit these where the valleys come down. We're going to add a little bit more depth to them. Okay, once we've kind of got the grays down, then we'll add some more light, some highlights to it. And even here, oh. Come on, buddy. There you go. It's even a little bit lighter where it hits the chest right there. Okay, and then we're going to hit the highlights. So this is where the light is hitting the top of these tubes or pipes coming down. Definitely could have made this this side darker. some of it, I think, just to be weird. I'm going to darken up a little bit of it. That's kind of bothering me over here. I'm just going to use my burn tool to help darken and lighten some of it a little bit. Get a little bit of overall 3D on it. Darken up the shoulders. Okay, so there we have a t-shirt. Okay, we got about 1 more minute on the t-shirt before we move on. But hopefully, to recap, add a new layer up here. Got a lot of stuff popping on. So just to recap, the shirt is light. You have the tension points coming from the pectoral muscles right here. This general shape. The shirt's a lot tighter on that because that's kind of the peak of this cylinder. See, the body kind of looks like that, and they all come off like this. From this one, they all kind of flow down. They drape down around the arm just the same, kind of flowing towards the armpit many times or up from it. So it's just how that gravity hits and pulls everything from that drawing. So we're going to hide that one, jump into the next. I don't know why my gut. So is this number 5 already? Wow, we're on the last one, my friends. So now we're going to do some real tight pants. This was a request by 3D Mentor again. He said, the pants that we're drawing, they're tight, but they're not as tight as they could be, right? So we're doing the tighter pants this time. And I accidentally hid my layers. There we go. I'm going to bring my layer back over here out of my way. Right, so let's do these pants. Let's draw them. So we think about the cylinder shape. So we have like the hip here is a cylinder, and these don't have to be perfect. But the leg is kind of coming down. It's a few cylinders, right? 4 to be exact. Here's where the knee comes and bends that way. So I need to shrink my palette down. So another cylinder here. Boom, tight pants though. Got a line that goes straight through from the thigh back to the butt. We'll call it a butt. And this kind of makes that S shape that goes right on down through to the calf. And we'll call that good. The force technique. Where are the lines forcing? Okay. So you notice on this one, this is what I was talking about before. So on the last t-shirt, the fabric had some gravity to it, which is not the case on these pants. But just because they're tight doesn't mean there aren't a lot of wrinkles and definitions. So these ones have a lot of horizontal lines on them. So that's a mistake that a lot of beginner artists make, is they just think, oh, it's vertical, so it should have vertical lines going down. So on these pants, yeah, so we're going to look at the tension points here from the waist. They all go right across. Around the knee, you notice this is what we talked about with joints. You have even more bunching of the clothing. And this forms those zigzag patterns as well. One of the things they call them is half locks. These aren't necessarily half locks, they're more like just zigzags. But here's the crease of the pant. Goes up the side. This one falls. I think I'm making these legs even skinnier than they are in the image, but that's okay. Here at the knee underneath again, this is where you have tension. This is where the cloth goes two different directions, and so they form a wrinkle. And they dissipate up here on the knee where it gets tighter. So you've got looser underneath the knee and tighter up on the knee, and so there's not as many prominent wrinkles. Here on this leg, there's not as much going on, and then of course the wrinkle, the folds are going up around the thigh up here where it's tight. So pretty cool. Okay, then we're going to hit these up with some highlights. So above each wrinkle, I'm going to add some light. These ones actually have some below on some of them. And these, I don't even have to be perfectly accurate to the photo. As long as I know what direction the wrinkles go, they're going to look accurate. Because it's just the natural way that fabric folds around things. So it's interesting, even on the pants where you have the seam here on the side, got a little highlight there, but even that forms little tension wrinkles coming from it, where the thread sewed the pants on, and you have like these nice little tension creases coming out. We actually had a pocket right here with less wrinkles in front of it and more coming out of it, where the fabric bunches from the inside of the pocket. Lots going on here, a lot more than you'd actually think. Actually use my burn tool to cheat a little bit and darken, give this the pants a little bit more shading. So underneath the knee, it's a little bit darker. This calf is a lot darker, coming around the side. And then just right underneath, and then we can hit it with some highlights. So this is where the light's kind of hitting the bottom of the leg and coming out around the knee and the top up here. Eat Lots, who we drawing today? We're drawing clothing, Eat Lots, specifically pants. We're doing studies of how cloth folds around objects. And what better way than with clothing? All right, we've got about 3 more minutes on this one, and then we'll post them up on Discord. So I'm gonna select all of mine, which this should be fun. So I'm gonna unhide all my layers, except for the red ones, which we can just get rid of. See all of my images here. That's a red one. So we have all 5 of them here. And so we're gonna organize them all. And my pants. This one needs more prominence. Yeah, you're good. Right there, little pants, buddy. Okay, and then number E up here, number 2. We need to move you, buddy, because you're kind of in the way. There we go. The beauty of Photoshop. I can't do this with my sketchbook. Oops. Okay, that's good. All right, so save these and post them on Discord, post them on Canvas. That is it. So that is, we'll continue this discussion on this lecture on folds and fabric in just a moment. And we'll do that on Zoom, my friends. So 15 minutes, I'll send you guys out a Zoom invite. Anybody who stopped by to say hello, thank you for the harassment. You guys are awesome. Do you need me to model for you? Eat lots? Maybe. Maybe we'll schedule you for another time. That's actually a great idea. We could all do a portrait of Eat Lots. That'd be great. Fabric study. Raid me, bro. I would raid you, 3D Mentor, but we're still in the class. Those turned out great. Thanks, man. They were fun. It's little 10-minute studies. These just help you to really focus on really things that you overlook a lot of the times in drawing. Fabric studies are super common by really good character artists because when you see that they don't happen, you know why. Oki Astoy. Eat Lots. We're going to do outside of this class, we're going to do a life drawing of Eat Lots' face, and we'll just have you on Discord. You just sitting there. Can you hold still for an hour? Actually, I think this is a great idea. It's publicity for you as well as fun portrait practice for the art community as a whole. All right, my friends. We'll see you in a few minutes, class. For everyone else to stop by, thank you. I appreciate it.